Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all, so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So what do? 3, 2, 1, my juice little lights. Thank you, little light. You're delicious and bright. Yes, they're super duper bright. Remember the batteries now. Okay, my delicious babies. So it's nearly, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? It's nearly 12 midday in our old England, my delicious little babies. It's a blue sky. There's a tiny few little clouds, but other than that, it's sun shining. So the sun has got his hat on. Hip, 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 hooray. Okay, my delicious babies. Now then, just a couple of bits of information for you today, my delicious little babies. Now then, and can I please say thank you for any views, for any likes, and that doesn't mean no, and for the occasional comments, and how I love you so. You are so super duper wonderful, super duper beautiful, and super duper delicious, and I love you, okay? And I hope that the weather wherever you are in the world is just as beautiful as what we have it here in my neck of the woods in old England, my delicious little babies. Now then. So, right, well, I am going to start by saying, because one of my videos seems to have fetched, well, it's very high numbers, actually, for my videos, my delicious little babies, because usually I hardly get anybody who looks at my videos, my delicious little babies. So, you know, once again, I would like to thank anybody who has been so very kind enough to even view my video, that particular video. Or any of my videos, but, you know, especially this one at the moment. Also, you know, for any likes and, you know, for the occasional comment, which brings me to saying, so who is this at Eddie Moore 6216? What is it he put as a comment? What is it? Stop the waffling at the beginning and get on with it. Well, I'll be sure now that I put a flipping comment back to the twat. So I'm not shouting at you, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? If somebody does not like, that doesn't mean no. If somebody does not like my video, because after all, any video is like a book. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it surely has an effing end. If they do not like listening to it, then why listen? It's ding, ding, dong, dong, common sense. Just asking a simple question, simple thing now. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Anyway, so he's had a message back from myself, but somebody else had put a message, and bless them, there we are for doing it. Okay? So the fact of the matter is you know, well, let's just say I would have said it's, with both of our comments, we put your twat in its place. Now, its place. Okay, and I just want to highlight who he is at Eddie Moore 6216. Do not visit my channel again, you twat. You move from it and stay away. I do not need your negativity when I'm trying my best to give out information, there we are, to help others, and especially in our old England. Flipping damn rank, man. So I'll make sure that I have put that twat's name. Some would say, why waste my energy? But no, I want it highlighted in case this silly little PRRCK decides to go on other channels and put negative comments. Little twat, man. Does not get it, clearly, does it? You know what I mean? Not seeing the whole point, there we are, to my video in the first place. Damn rank, man. Anyway, my delicious little baby, so that's ticked off, you flipping PRRCK. I wish you damn well now, whoever you may be. Now then, my delicious little babies, right? So the first one, my delicious little babies, yeah, this is the one that I wanted to tell you about, okay, my delicious little babies, and I will repeat this once again. I'm not shouting at yourselves, my delicious little babies, okay? It's just that, you know, if one send me silliness, there we are, then they're going to get it back. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to put up with that shit. But I'll leave it there. I'll leave the comments. I'm not going to delete it. I'm not going to delete my reply, and I'm not going to delete that twats video because, comment, because others can damn well see that there was no need for that at all, my delicious babies. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, not to worry, you know. Maybe he needs to, if he hasn't, start doing videos, you know what I mean? And maybe if others send him flipping negative comments, you know what I mean? He'd get what the duck gives him. Anyway, mind you, he probably wouldn't do that, you know, because to do videos, there we are. Well, I do not give a damn what anyone says. You know, at the end of the day, there's some in the world who are very, you know, I feel very confident in front of the camera, and there are some who are not. But judging by his silly damn comment, I'm pretty sure that not many would even want to listen to that complete twat. Anyway, my delicious babies, I don't feel bad at all. I don't feel bad one bit. This is my channel. I can say what I effing like. And that is how I feel on the matter. Now then, my delicious little babies, and I hope that it sees what I had to say now then, because I feel nowhere. Be sure on that. Now then, my delicious little babies, this is the one that I said I was going to advertise today, my delicious little babies, okay? So this is called, in the old space bar on YouTube, my delicious little babies. It's 21 minutes and so many seconds long, okay, my delicious little babies. It's called Vice. It's all in capital letters. Now, for some of you, my little beautifuls, you may very well know this channel. I know this channel, but do you know what I mean? But others may very well not know it, okay? So this is all in capital letters, VRCE, VAS, or Voice. Okay, my delicious baby, space, capital N news. This uploader happens to have 9.22 million subscribers, my delicious baby, so rather large. You do not see channels like that much anymore, my delicious babies, on YouTube. Well, I've certainly not seen many my delicious babies, but of course, you know, they've probably been around, there we are, for many years. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious babies, you know, to get it to that number and all. So that's the upload of my delicious babies. So I'm just going to read out. So, married at 14, Zambia's child brides, vast news. Okay, my delicious babies. So I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? Married at 14, Zambia's child brides, vast news. Yes, my delicious babies, okay? And you'll see for yourself, as far as I'm concerned, you know, what they do in other countries, well, really, well, to be fair, it's their own business. However, I personally do not agree with it. Okay, my delicious babies, so I'm not going to sit in my camera and say that I do when I do not. Okay? But as I would always say, if you look at all different countries, and especially as well with some who have very harsh regimes, shall we say, well, some nasty and evil, no good bee, there we are, made these rules up in the first place, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? And evil lives, clearly. Okay, my delicious babies, okay? Because really, ones would not want, in an ideal world, to live like this, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? But somebody made these rules, didn't they? There we are, clearly. Do you know what I mean? But who will anybody ever know who made these rules up? Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? However, I'll repeat again, we do not want it in our country, in our old England, my delicious little babies. Or Ireland, Scotland, or Wales, my delicious little babies. No, we do not. Okay, now then, next one, my delicious little babies. Yeah, well worth a watch of that little video. The poor young lass. She was just numb. She was just staring like this, just staring. She was asked a question. She never even looked at who was asking her the question. She was just staring. How sad is that? You do not get brought into the world, okay, to be, you know, married at 14 and then, what is it, having a baby when you're 15 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Not having the opportunity to go to school or to I mean, we all know it's flipping indoctrination, mad delicious little babies, but the fact of the matter is that not even given that opportunity. So what, you got to grow up beyond your years. Do you see what I mean? It's damn rank, it's disgusting. There we are, that is just how I feel on the matter, mad delicious little babies. I would never dream in a million years doing that to my beautiful little baby daughters, never. And any other families who are there, okay, or nationalities in our, well, where I live anyway, my little babies, or if I'm walking out and about, you know, they wouldn't dream of doing that, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Looking disgusting, man. Absolutely. Now then, my delicious little babies, this one here, this uploader happens to have 14,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies, okay? And it's called, that doesn't mean no, just got a hair in my face, my delicious little babies. Capital U, capital K, space, capital N, news, then capital U, update, space again. Okay, my delicious little babies, so that's the uploader on our old YouTube. So it should read, once tapped into the old space bar, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, it's only just over a couple of minutes long, my delicious little babies. UK space news space update. Okay, my delicious little babies. And they've got that on that same channel, they've got this dear man now. Oh, I forgot. He was on I don't know if he's still on TikTok. He probably still does TikTok videos, my delicious little babies, but sometimes, honestly. He's elderly, but bless it. Well, he's an older man, you know, not in that way with anyone, okay? But, oh gosh, sometimes, let me tell you, he was wild vexed with his swearing and everything. Do you know what I mean? Bad delicious little babies. I remember months and months and months ago, I did advertise him, okay? Well, there's a minute and something video where what he wants, this is on the same channel, my delicious little babies, okay? What he wants is for our putrid government to stop lying. That's his wish. My delicious little babies, just to tell the truth. Do you understand what I mean, okay? But in this video, he's very calm. But if you've seen other videos of his, let me tell you, when he flipping gets vexed, he gets vexed. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. He does make me laugh, though. He's funny. Because I should imagine he's a really pleasant man, you know what I mean, in real life. Not in that way, but a very pleasant gentleman. Do you understand what I mean, okay? But yeah, he's one of those where, say if he was like your granddad, I mean, my dear granddad, I mean, bless his beautiful dear little soul, you know what I mean? He was, really, really gentleman-like. Do you see what I mean? Yes, okay? But say if you look in today's day and age, okay? And he's sort of, let's just say he's up with it, or he understands, what's everything, what's going on in the world. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little baby. So I would have said that, if he is a granddad, bless him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I reckon you could have a good laugh with him. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, I can. But this video here, my delicious little babies, this video should read, again, this is on YouTube, my delicious little babies. Like I say, it's just over 2 minutes long, okay, so it's not long at all. Branded far right for wanting safety, ? I always put to. British public furious at Tower Hamlets. Okay, my delicious little baby, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? Branded far right for wanting safety, but to ? British public furious at Tower Hamlets. Okay, my delicious little babies, so now I'm going to close my book, so that's everything. Okay, my delicious little babies, we need to go back to where we need to go back to. Yeah, this a woman now, my delicious little baby, she does not happen to be a very, there we are, happy little bunny at all, my delicious little babies, okay? She's totally peed off with everything. She says it all, there we are, in just over 2 minutes, my delicious little babies. And in all fairness, there we are, she was done telling it the way it is. This is what's happening, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? You see, if the English, it's like when one's put UK, we're not the United Kingdom, okay? We are England. We are English. There we are. So as far as I'm concerned, we are English. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, they brought these things in now. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies. But the fact is, get back to the matter in hand. The fact is that everything what she said, there we are, is the truth. Now, what's happening is that, you see, we're in a situation, okay, because you've got loads of things going on. You've got the flipping immigration, you've got everything. Okay, my delicious little babies, you've got us in England who clearly have been taken, in my view, this is not her words, this is my view, okay, having the complete effing pee taken out of us all now. There we are. That is the way I see it, my delicious little babies, okay? Because with our putrid governments, this is what they just keep done doing. So if we're not being listened to, this is, there we are, the type of, let's just say, response that ones are going to give, because, you know, they're just not happy. Do you know what I mean? So she's seeing what's going on. She's responding to it. My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? It's absolutely disgusting what's going on. You know what I mean? But well worth a little listen anyway. They've got a lot of other little videos. It appears to be little videos. I'm wondering if I've advertised them before, my delicious little babies, maybe months ago. Could have done. Do you know what I mean? They just came back up on my feed. Okay, my delicious little babies. But yes, you know, at the end of the day, everybody's just getting damn peed up. There we are, just damn peed off with everything. And especially, you know, in ones that are coming in and, you know, they're getting everything, aren't they, my delicious little babies? You know what I mean? When we've got our gas and electric lecky going up, food prices going up, mind you, been flipping poison day and night, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean, with our food and water. You know, so, you know, ones are paying lots and lots of tax. And then they just, you know, just come over, there we are, just have everything on a plate, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? And of course, you know, they have the audacity in some of these hotels and everything. If they do not like the food, well, if they do not like the food, then get back to their own effing damn country, isn't it? Because their services are not required here. Damn right, man. You know, there's families, Mad, I'm not shouting at you, Mad, there's families where they save up for some all year to go on a little holiday just so that they could afford to go in a hotel, you know, just say to themselves, okay, we've been working all year, do you know what I mean? And then go away so that they can, you know, maybe have somebody wait on them, politely speaking, you know, because everybody needs a job at the end of the day. You know, to have the breakfast, you know, at a hotel, to have the lunch and to have the tea. Do you see what I mean? Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? And they save up all year for that. And then these come over in the boats and they have the damn cheek. If you look in some of these countries now, they're eating effing leaves, man. They're eating effing leaves. So when they cook decent food now then, and they turn it up, you know, they turn the nose up at it. Damn cheeky effers, man. There we are. In my view, if you ask me, my delicious little babies, I've known this long time anyway. There's plenty of videos on it. And then we got our beautiful, dear little homeless. Do you think they can turn their nose up if somebody brings them a sandwich or something like this? No. They say thank you. Thank you very much, and can you please spare some change? That's what they usually say. You're always going to get the occasional one, which, you know, you always will. Okay? But if you look at 99%, they're very thankful and grateful. You've got in our country, this has been going on a long time, okay, but it's got worse, there we are, worse and worse, with food banks. And that's when, there we are, even one's working. And these going to 4 and 5-star hotels, my delicious little babies, okay, and they turn their damn nose up at the food. And then, of course, these wonder, and so do our putrid governments, why ones out here are peed off. Why should anybody be using a food bank? This has been going on for years, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? But why should anybody need to use a food bank? Shouldn't need to. It's like these larger supermarkets have been done long time, saying this for years. And what they do is they'd rather throw the food out, okay? That's what they do. They throw them into these great big massive bins, okay, my delicious little babies, okay? Rather than say, okay, we're going to, give to, or maybe hire some, or if they want to volunteer, would be better actually, I feel, to go out and deliver food to ones of our beautiful mankind who are less fortunate, shall we say, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? But no, they'd rather, throw it in the bin now. Okay, I said about this, it was years and years and years ago, I watched a documentary where what they do, they go at night time, well, they used to anyway, and they go at night time, and these ones here now, they lived in in our old England, they lived in a caravan. I'm going back years ago now, my delicious babies, when I've seen this video. I'm pretty sure, what was that? It was on another channel. It wasn't like on your television 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. It was on another channel, my delicious babies can. Because they wouldn't really show it on those channels, you know what I mean, my delicious little babies. And yes, they lived in a caravan. They'd wait till a certain time, then they'd go to these bins, the back of these supermarkets, and they'd have a feast, absolute feast. They had the shopping to last them a week. There's 2 or 3 of them, and all you could see, not in the wrong way, my delicious little babies, but, like where they jump up and then they're into the bin, and all you can see is the little legs in the air, and, because they're wearing the jeans and everything, the little bums and little legs in the air, do you know what I mean? Just trying to get what they can. Do you see what I mean? But they wasn't asking anybody for anything, they were using, water from somewhere, and then they were, with a gas canister. Do you understand what I mean? And that's how they were living. Do you see what I mean? Okay, but, and that doesn't mean no, but, you have the security and everything, so they had to make sure, that doesn't mean no, they had to make sure that that they never got caught. But actually, when you actually look at it, why should they have to do that? Here we are. I'm just simpleton asking the question, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? So, just because I want to get food that would otherwise has been thrown out, okay, surely to goodness, ones would be happy or should be happy that ones are eating. But no, not in our old England, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? They just want you to live like a pheasant. Some say peasant, others say pheasant, I say pheasant. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? But no. I've the same with the Aldi, with the flowers, or if you want to get like little bedding plants or something like this now then, and they're as dry as a burn because nobody waters them. And I have spoken to other customers, when I've been outside, with my shopping waiting for a taxi. And I've actually used water that I've bought myself to water some of the flowers. And there was this dear gentleman the one day, I'm going back weeks and weeks and weeks ago, ever such a not in that way, ever such a lovely dear gentleman. He towered up above myself. And, oh, sorry, excuse me. And he could see that I was watering the plants. And he came up to me and he said, that's a really nice thing that you're doing. That's really lovely. I said, thank you so very much. I said, well, what it is, they're not getting watered. So the price is still the same, my delicious little babies. I'm pretty sure that some of yourselves, should anybody be so very kind enough to, swing across my channel, my delicious little babies, maybe you have gone through this. You know what I mean? So They do not water them. The poor little plants, whether they're plants or bedding plants, they're on their last legs. That's just a figure of speech, mad delicious babies can. But when you get to the till, they won't drop the price. Because what the cashiers have told myself, so it's not their fault either, my delicious little babies, certainly not the cashier's fault at all. It's what they've been told to do. So what they've been told to do is, of course, if they're not bought, you cannot sell it at that price. They throw them out. So it's the same with the little bedding plants or the little plants that you buy. Well, why's that? Surely to goodness, if you give it a discount price, ones can take it and then maybe save that plant. Do you know what I mean? Or that little, square plastic of little plants that you can plant. Can you see? So everything, there we are, is bonkers. It's upside down, backwards. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes? So now you can fully understand. Anyway, with that dear gentleman, just let me get back to that now then. So I said, could you please, I said, if I give you some ka-ching, okay, I tell you what, if he was here now, there we are. He may not come on the camera, but he would say, yes, this is exactly what I asked. I said, if I give you some ka-ching, I said, could you please get some more water? And on your way out, I said, because I would have been gone by then, okay? I think by that time I'd already used 2 larger bottles of water. My delicious little babies, okay, like I said, that I paid for. And I didn't mind doing it because I like to, make sure they're watered. I mean, there's as dry as a bone. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? But he said, no. He said, please put your money away. He said, it's so kind and lovely what you've done. He said, what I'll do, he said, I will go and buy some water and I will come out and water them. He said, but I'm going to go in and talk to them about this. And I said, I've already done it a number of times. And I says, but, do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, now you can get another shop, say, like an independent shop, which is down the road from the Aldi. And it's an independent one. Okay, my delicious little babies, and they do really well with the flowers. They do, my delicious little babies, all the plants, the flowers, because what they do, they have the hose on them and they're watering them all the time. So that place there is known. It's like a little shop, a little grocery shop, but they also sell a lot of flowers and plants. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay, but that is well known. Where you can get lovely flowers and everything, you know what I mean? Because they're constantly watering them. So what's the point in having flowers and plants if you're just not going to water them? There's just no sense in that. But like I said, you cannot blame the cashiers for it. Because, I mean, usually whenever you go into the Aldi and for most supermarkets, you know what I mean? They usually, there we are, run off their feet. Because there's only so many staff there, for them to do their jobs. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies? Mind you, the staff up there are really nice, and the security and everything. They're really pleasant, my delicious babies. I happen to think it's a really nice place when I go there, because it's not always very nice. Like, if you go to, I don't know, these days, I don't know because I haven't been there for years, but like, Asda or somewhere like that wouldn't be nowhere near as nice, you know what I mean? They just, it's all doom and gloom. They're just slipping, do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? They don't even crack the flipping bird trace to smile at you, my delicious little babies, okay? But again, like I always say, if somebody doesn't like a job, then trap out of it, isn't it? But that's meant to be customer service. You're meant to have a good customer service, aren't you, my delicious little babies? Anyway, I just feel myself that our old England at the moment, my delicious little babies, it needs to be put, there we are, back on track. Okay, my delicious little babies, but that's what I'm saying. What ones are peed off about is that these here now are eating gourmet meals. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay, when everybody else has got to struggle. Do you see what I mean? So you can understand why ones, there we are getting damn well peed off now, isn't it? And I'm not the only one. There's plenty of chat. Do you know what I mean? So it's not just myself. Oh, and then I heard, very lastly, before I leave my video to you all, my little beauties, but like I said, I wasn't shouting at yourselves, okay, my delicious bags. I'll just get passionate about things, you know what I mean? But the other thing I want to say, yeah, I've heard on our lovely Not in That Way, Not in That Way, our lovely iconic. I always put iconic Gareth Ark Spaces in older YouTube. My delicious little babies. They're now up to 7.65 thousand subscribers. Fan dabby Dursey. I love to see numbers going up, my delicious little babies. Yeah, so it seems that our poxy Prime Minister in our old England, my delicious little babies, now, he's only now just starting to talk or address to do with Palestine, my delicious little babies, Kai. It's taken him long enough, isn't it? You know what I felt when I was listening, my delicious little babies, because I listened to our lovely iconic, you know, our dear little Gareth, dear little Jamie, dear little Richard every day. You know, not in that way, not in that way, bless them. But I love listening to our lovely iconic and our lovely David Art, bless them all. They're all so lovely, you know, not in that way, not in that way. When I was listening to this, I thought, yes. You see, and of course, they were talking about Israel, okay? Yeah. Because what's happening is, okay, they're finding now, this is just me an outsider looking in, okay, my delicious little babies. My thoughts was that, yes, they're realising how much they are, there we are, effing despised. That's our putrid government and putrid Israel. Okay, my delicious little babies, because if you look at a lot of the you know, Israelis, yes, you do have, some mothers do have them, but the fact of the matter is this, is that for most of the Israelis, they do not want wars, they do not want anything, especially when they've got a flipping egonistic, poisonous, Polish, isn't he, Netanyahu, okay, my delicious little babies, poisonous creature and cretin, who's quite happy to sit on camera and admits that he's poisoned the majority of his population, my delicious little babies. Okay, yeah, he's damn rank, man. Okay, he seems to be very happy with his damn self. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, well, for a start off, he's effing Polish. So what is he doing in Israel? There we are, for a start. Okay, but they're realising that they too are being despised. Not for the Israelis who do not like any of this, okay? I'm talking about, you know, where at one time, and of course, dear Jamie was absolutely banging correct. I've thought this anyway, long time now, myself. You know, it's like somebody says it and, you know, I've had the thoughts. You know, at one time, you couldn't say nothing about Israel. You know what I mean? And that putrid piece of shit, Netanyahu's been in power for how long? You know, he's like a bad stench, isn't it? You know, it's like going down to the sewers and it just, that smell just hits your flipping nostrils. Just won't go away. That's what he is. Putrid, man. Do you know what I mean? How he's still in power, I just do not know. I've no idea at all. But of course, every time, you know, that they get to, you know, to do with war crimes and everything, oh, yeah, you know, something else going on why you can't. Do you see what I'm saying, my delicious little babies, Kai? But yeah, they're realising now, and that's why getting back to our lovely iconic Gareth Ark, my delicious little babies, on old YouTube, or you can find them on our lovely davidart.com, okay, my delicious little babies, trending, my delicious little babies, please and thank you, should anybody have any form of an interest. Well, they're all realising, there we are, just how much they are despised. There we are, my delicious little babies. You see what I mean, okay? So no more, you know, ones like, oh, have any form of respect. No. Because guess what? They're showing their damn selves, isn't it? For what they are. Do you see what I mean? But it's taken our Prime Minister Starmer, hasn't it? It's took him long enough, isn't it? Do you see what I'm saying, okay? Putrid, absolutely putrid, you know, and to let other things go on in other countries the way it does, do you know what I mean? And all of that should just be acceptable, do you know what I mean? But because they know how much everybody's paid off with it now, there we are. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? That was my thoughts when I was listening to that. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? But nobody should starve. Nobody should, let's just say, have things done to them against their will, whether they are a man or a woman. Okay, my delicious little babies, you know what I'm talking about, my delicious little babies, yes? Nobody should have to live like that. But I totally agree with Jamie and I totally agree with Richard. Yes, I do. I mean, what it comes down to is little babies. But if you look at all different countries, my delicious little babies, they're suffering. And it's usually always the babies now who are suffering, just like when they have to, dig, from a tiny, tiny age, they're there digging. No little baby should have to do that. You see what I mean? And when I was talking about North Korea not so long ago, little babies going hungry, starving, and your adults around them are yamming off food, eating food. Makes me damn sick, man. I just want to get a bucket and project in it. Makes me damn sick. But of course, you're going to get silly flipping PRRCKs out there, flipping twats, man, who still like our flipping poxy Prime Minister and the poxy government because of that flipping brain dead. I'm sorry to have to use those words, my delicious babies, but that's what they damn well are. When our dear Creator was handing out brains, clearly missed, there we are, a large number out, my delicious little babies, it seems. So I do not care. I'm just done saying it in my camera and couldn't give a fiddler's F. You know what I mean? If ones keep verting these in, you're going to continue ding, ding, dong, dong to have the flipping problem, isn't it? There we are. It's damn well common sense. But if nobody talked about these, nobody paid any attention, they'd scurry away. They'd be crawling under there we are, the little rocks. You see what I mean? It's only because ones pay attention in the first place, my delicious babies, that they've had so much bloody damn well coverage. There we are. Okay, my delicious little babies, but no, it's sad. Any war is sad. What goes on. I do my best to, because, do you know what I mean? Because we have to be concentrating as well, my delicious little babies, to what's going on here. But if we're not too careful, my delicious little babies, oh, it's my little crow, my beautiful little crows, bless them. But if we're not too careful, what's been happening in other countries like poor Africa, poor Ethiopia, poor Somalia, poor Gaza now, and, other poor countries who have had to go through this, my delicious little babies, will be coming to a country near us, my delicious little babies. And in our country, I do not put anything past these pieces of effing sharp, man. No, I do not. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies, yes? So we've got to keep our flipping eye on the ball here. You know what I mean? I don't trust these one bit. And by the way, my delicious little babies, if you hear about, what is it? They usually, I think, do it once a year. They've been doing it for years now, my delicious little babies. Like a water hose ban. Well, you know what, my delicious little babies? Whatever the putrid government says, there we are. You do the opposite. Please and thank you. So when I tell you not to use your hers, I'd use it 3 times more. My delicious little babies, that's what I would do. And anyway, when they used to, years ago, when they used to say, and then they used to say, oh, don't use your hose, don't you? No. I made sure that the flipping grass, the plants, the flowers, everything was totally flipping saturated in water, my delicious little babies. I did it deliberately now. Yes, I did. Because anything that they tell you, you always do the opposite, like I just said. Do you know what I mean? Because when I tell you what, so they want to put everybody's water up, 300, 400, 500, ka-ching, 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 like up to a monkey. 500, ka-ching, yes? And then they don't want you to use water. And anyway, for most of these bloody companies, they've been poisoning you anyway. I mean, since 1964, they've been flipping poisoning our water with fluoride, my delicious little babies, in old Birmingham, in our old England, my delicious little babies. Yes, they have. And ones have every right to know. But why should anybody, sorry, let's rewind and start again. Why should anybody have to pay for water that's poisoned, my delicious little babies? Or coming out brown out the tap, like it has been, my delicious little babies, of late. See what I mean? Anyway, so until my next video, sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, there we are, may you all be fully protected. And how I love you all so. And I'm not shouting at you, my delicious little babies, there we are. I'm just really passionate about what I talk about. But yeah, ones are just had enough now. You know, I call it at the moment, from what I can see and outside and looking in, it's like it's simmering. But of course, it's going to, there we are, bubble to the top. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. I can see it, there we are, happening. I'm not inciting anything. Do you know what I mean? What's happening is, because of what's going on with our putrid governments, you know, ones can only take so much. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, Kai? And that is, there we are, how I see this going. And not only in our country, this will be, there we are, happening in other countries, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? And of course, you know, so this is why we've got all of the censoring, it seems, from what I can see and hear, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Because for myself, why would you need to censor anybody if ones are just telling the damn truth, isn't it? Is that what some are afraid of? There we are, the truth. But then again, shouldn't our putrid governments, not only in our old England, but all over the world, shouldn't they really consult us or ask us about things? No, they haven't, because they seem to think that we are their servants when it is actually, there we are, the other way around. My delicious little babies, they're meant to be, there we are, serving us. So there seems to be rather a lot of confusion. Do you not feel, my delicious little babies? Yes. And finally, just before I go, then I'm going to be over and out. I was listening this morning to our lovely UK column, not in that way, not in that way. They're now up to 14,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies. Fan-dabby-dozy. Okay, my delicious little babies. And I listened to 2 banging videos. The one was to do with our lovely, he's so sweet, not in that way, not in that way. He's so sweet, you know, Brian Gerrish. And he was talking to a lovely Jewish lady. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now for myself, like I said, there's good and bad in anybody. Okay? But like I've said before, I'm done saying it. You take away the colour, we're all the same. There we are anyway. Okay? But I've met many Jewish in my decades, my delicious little babies, and I personally have not had no issues. Okay? Like I said, there's good and bad in everybody. It's usually a small circle of a certain, it could be any colour, creed, nationality. You know, you'll only have a small circle, but for most, they just want to live in peace, love and harmony. But it was a lovely conversation I was listening to, my delicious little babies, okay, with our dear Brian. And the dear lady, what's her name, Lynn. Okay, my delicious little babies. It was a really good conversation. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, our dear Brian and dear Lynn and our lovely dear UK column and our lovely Brian. Yes, bless you all. And then the other one I listened to was with Germ, and he's got his guest, I forgot his name, I'm very sorry. And he's talking about Syria. Yes, there we are. And I was in agreement with what they were talking about, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Totally. You know, and of course in, in Syria, they are knocking up mosques here, there and everywhere, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But we must remember with the churches now that are not innocent. There's a lot of, there we are, corruption that goes on, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? But they do those nasty things now in poor Syria. And I know our beautiful little Syrian families, and they're so beautiful. They're so kind and loving. They're really lovely and sweet. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies, Kai? They're never asked to leave their country. They miss their country. Bless them. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, yes? But look at the horrendous things that have gone on over in Syria. What are them ones then decide to go when they've done their nasty business now and murdering, and then they go and pray to the mosque? Make me damn sick, man. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, Kai. So they do all these nasty, wicked and putrid things now, and then they go and pray in the mosque. Do you know what I mean? It's like you go back decades ago, you used to have like a little priest, and used to go, be able to go, and used to go and give a confession. No, that's just another way that we are. A one's wanting to know your damn business, isn't it? Well, that's the way I saw it. I wouldn't go into a church and sit down and confess everything. No, I flipping damn well wouldn't. And anyway, I've got nothing to confess anyway. But even if I did, I still wouldn't. I've never really been one for churches. Anybody knows that with myself? Do you know what I mean? If I need to pray, I can pray to my Creator in my own four walls, or when I'm out and about walking in nature. I don't need to go to no damn greedy, money-hungry, flipping damn church now. Makes a change with the church up in the shopping centre, not far from where I live, my delicious little babies. I'm not seeing any scaffolding there this year at the moment, my delicious little babies, because they always want their ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching with the old begging bowl, for a new roof and all that. But where does the ka-ching go? Just a question, my delicious little babies, just a question. So no, I do not trust churches either, my delicious little babies, mosques or anything else. No, I do not. Okay? Don't get me wrong. I happen to know some lovely Muslim, like I do different nationalities. Catholic, I happen to know some lovely Catholics. I happen to know, all different religions, my delicious little babies, okay? And you have a lot of really lovely, okay? So I'm not going to say any different, okay? But for myself, I believe in my own giddy God within, okay? Because it's only us, I repeat again, who are our own saviours. Should not be looking to saviours to help us, because I truly believe that we can man our own ships in each of our countries. We do not need all of this trouble and strife every 5 minutes, wars everywhere, problems everywhere, one's going hungry everywhere. Nobody needs this shat, because for most it's hard enough to live as it is. And on that note, my delicious little babies, and I just sort of just let you know, my beautiful little crows were out there, and one of my crows, right, was on the fence, had a feather, and just in his beak, and just went, and just dropped it on the grass. Oh, me little gardener's been, bless him, he's done a beautiful job, okay? Because it was growing really, really fast, my delicious little babies, okay? But now it's been cut back down again. As my grass, my delicious little babies. But yeah, it was really sweet. So when I was talking to you, I was watching what, the little crow was doing as well, my delicious little babies. It's just lovely the way he just threw the feather with his beak. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies. Anyway, so until my next video, thank you so very much for listening. So much love. Take care. Once again, I wasn't shouting at you, okay? I'd never do that, okay? I'd just there we are, very passionate about what I talk about. But yeah, lovely videos to take a listen to, my delicious little babies. Like I said, there's good and bad in everybody. You cannot just brand somebody and then just say everybody's the same, because they're not. Not at all. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? But I just thought that was a lovely conversation that dear Brian, dear Lynn had, and dear Germany's dear guest. Just lovely conversations, my delicious little babies. And the same with our lovely iconic, dear Jamie, dear Richard, and dear Gareth, just lovely conversations, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? That's what you want to listen to. Like I love me tunes, so sometimes if I'm in the mood, I'll play me tunes. If not, I'll probably sing a bit, or if not, but I like to listen to serious things. There we are, to know what's going on in the world, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? And to look at different videos, and then, to decide whether I'm going to advertise them out. Okay, my delicious little babies, so I love you so very much. Please, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a beautiful time wherever you are. If it is beautiful weather, there we are, please enjoy it, because they like to have a little mess around, don't they, my delicious little babies? Anyway, love ya. Thank you. Goodbye.